everybody, thank you so much for checking out the Click Call Sell budget planning tool. I am so excited for the first time ever to be sharing this with the world. I have spent the last decade really perfecting and working with this model here. Hundreds of clients, dozens of millionaires have used this tool and really learned the mathematical side of their business to make planning a little bit less scary and a little bit easier to understand. So the goal of this exercise is to be able to future cast and see exactly what your business will look like in the next 12 months. If you really like this exercise that we're going and you want more, I've actually connected a more extensive and comprehensive version of this to an API. But if you're not already a little bit of a numbers nerd and like technology, it's probably a little bit too much. But this tool here is an amazing starting point to help you understand exactly what metrics will determine your sales goal. So let's get started and dive into what this worksheet really is. I'm going to start here at the final product, what you're going to see when you're finished with this entire exercise. And the reason I want to show that is so you can see as you're building out this plan, what you're actually going to be building. And so the final result will look something like this. Now I made it all match up exactly perfectly to the dollar so that we wouldn't have any sort of ambiguity or questions here. But what you're going to see when this is done is we're going to try to build a budget for $1 million, simple math. And you can see here, we're going to have our total marketing spend projection by month, how much our monthly sales is going to be based on our percentage of sales by month, how many leads per month or per day that we need. One of the things I've noticed after coaching for so long is it just gets really scary when you think the phone's not ringing enough. But if you're able to track how many leads per day you need based on your goal, it makes that fear just a little bit less. Next is how many customers you need to acquire, repeat referral revenue, how many jobs you need to complete per day or per month, how much revenue per day, and then how many vehicles you're going to need to complete your goal. So all of this is what the final product's going to look like. Backing up one step now is there are only 6 metrics that are going to determine your sales. That's it, 6 metrics. First metric, percentage of business to repeat. A customer that's already in your database and they're giving you money again for the 2nd, 3rd, 50th time. A referral customer. This is somebody who originates from your database. It could be B2B, a referral partner, a real estate agent, somebody that is already in your database and they just keep feeding you leads. It could be a B2C customers, a friend, family, neighbor, somebody that's advocating for your brand. Next is your average sale price. This is one of the points that I'll mention a little bit on the next tab here is average ticket's a sticky one for some people. Some industries, I'll just use HVAC for example, have wildly different prices for services. If you're installing furnaces, HVAC units at $5,500 is a unit, let's get $11,000 average ticket, but you also offer maintenance plans at $75 a month. There's an $11,000 service and a $75 service. There's a huge disparity between that. And it's easy for small business owners to say, hey, I have a $100,000 service and a $20,000 or a $2,000 service. How can I possibly get an average ticket? But the fact is, you already have an average ticket. If you took your last 12 months of sales and you did your total sales divided by the total work orders that you did, you already have an average ticket. And so it's made up of a mix of all the maintenance plans and service calls and installations and all the different services you do. And so for this stage of planning, we're not trying to get so detailed and so in depth that we need to think about every single service. We need to have an average ticket. And it's going to be made up of all those services. If you want to raise your average ticket, then sell more higher ticket services, raise your price, add a higher ticket service. That's going to be for the next phase of planning. This whole framework is built on this idea called top-down planning. It's a really cool philosophy of business planning. And if you haven't heard of it, you can Google it, go to ChatGPT and just get a really quick crash course on it. But when you're here in annual planning, it's a little bit more abstract and at the top. And as you come down, you get more granular. So at this stage, we're trying to get our average ticket. At the next stage, we might say we're going to segment that average ticket into these 3 to 4 service types so that we know how many of each service we need to get in order to make sure that average ticket is in line with our goal. And so this stage, and it would take forever. The reason this is easy or easier to do than other budget planning tools is because it doesn't overcomplicate. And so don't try to overcomplicate this exercise. Just follow the model and then you can take it steps further. Remember, I think I said earlier in this video, this is connected to a really cool software with an API that can do all of this automatically for you based on your historical performance. So if you're a nerd and you like numbers and you want to get more automated and real-time follow-ups, this is a sick program that I've spent a year building for this. So what we're going to do is just kind of give an example now as we get started. So let's just really get started right here. So first, just like you did in 5th grade English class, write your name if you want to. and then come up with a sales goal. I would suggest using last year's sales or the last 12 months sales as kind of an indicator or a place to start. Some people want to do 20% growth. Some people want to do 500% growth. For this model, it doesn't really matter. You just want to come up with something that you feel like is attainable. So I already have $1 million. Let's say I did $1 million last year. I want to do $1.5 million this year. And let's say I spent $50,000 in marketing last year. I'll move that to $75,000 in marketing this year. And now we come into column C here. So column C is going to be your revenue by month. So if you have 1.5 million, then January is going to be 10% of that. So in this model, I would do $150,000 in January, $160,000 in February, $150,000 in March, April dipped down, and you can kind of see a little bit of that here in a chart. And so based on what industry you're in, it's impossible for me to tell everybody. Every industry is different. So you have to go and kind of just guess. Again, this isn't perfect. We don't need to land on the moon. We just need to use it as a guide for us to follow. Then you'll come over here and you'll look at your marketing spend. And I have a really cool marketing video series here with a marketing calendar that you can download if you're interested in seeing some really cool philosophies on building a marketing calendar. If you want to be ultra nerd, you have 7 days a week. You can look at the number of days in a month or a number of work days. Let's say you work all 7 days and you would just change this to how many days. But this is a really good, we're within a couple of days of each other. And as you saw, like leads per day, jobs per day, revenue per day, that's where those metrics are coming from. But I hit it because again, it gets a little bit too granular. All right, now let's go here. So we talk about the average ticket. And I added this particular part here that you can see highlighted specifically because of that challenge that I've had to have some clients overcome. And that's I have a $10,000 average ticket service and an $80 average ticket service. How could I possibly get a average ticket when I have such a huge disparity in my average tickets? And again, take your total sales and your average and your number of work orders in the last 12 months, and you already have an average ticket. That average ticket is made up of these right here. So after I have my sales goal of 1.5 million, all I'm going to try to do here is get this number to 1.5 million. And since I'm already using HVAC, I'll go new installation. Let's go maintenance plans. Let's do service calls. And let's do industrial and commercial. So now we've got, let's say, new installations, 300. That's going to be, let's say, $88,000 average ticket at 300 is fine. Maintenance plans, I just started selling them, don't have many of them, but I will have 80 transactions at, let's say, $150 this year. Service calls, I'll do 500 at, I'm making all this up, 750. And then commercial industrial 12 at 38,000. Made all that up. So now I'm at 3.2 million. I'm trying to get to 1.5, way over. Let's say 18,000. Still super high, 100. There we go. Now I'm getting into the more normal things here, 15 and 120. So I'm just trying to get close, right? I'm just trying to have my benchmark. So now I know that if I get 110 new installations at $7,500 average ticket, I'm not trying to tell anybody what their average ticket is here. And I have 80 maintenance plans at 150, 500 service calls at 750, 15 commercial installations at 18,000. I'm going to be right at my goal. So I'm close enough. You want to take these numbers and put them in your office and hang them up so you know your targets for the year, go for it. But this is just your roadmap of how you're going to be able to get to that $2,100 average ticket. Interesting, you have $2,100 average ticket and you've got a $7,700, $18,000 average ticket and also the $150. So it allows you to get that mix of your services. So come through here. If you want more information, there's a 5-minute tutorial like specifically only on this tab. But just revenue per month, marketing spend per month, service mix, marketing spend, sales goal, move on to the next one. Now, our objective for this tab, again, another 5-minute video if you want more information, objective of this tab is to get this number as close to this number as possible. That's our only goal. And so we do that through adjusting these numbers. So I would look at first your setup, right? So $1.5 million sales, I was up from 1 million last year. How many customers do you have in your database? And how many of those work orders or number of jobs do you think are going to come as a repeat? And if you're in year 2 and you're trying to go from 100,000 to 1.5 million, repeat's going to be super small. If you're in year 30 and you don't really spend a lot of money in marketing and you're trying to go from 1 million to 1.1 million, your repeat might be 80%, right? It's going to all vary based on your historical performance how long you've been in business, and how much you're trying to grow. So let's just keep this at 50. Actually, let's go down to 30 because let's just say hypothetical or new. Referral, 15% is your benchmark. Just use that. It should be 15% referral. If you're not there, you're doing something wrong. If you're above it, you're doing something right. So let's just target 12%. Average ticket we've already got. You can see it's from a formula up here. We've already built that from here, 2141. So we don't need to mess with that. If we want to change it, we can just go back to our setup. Closing percentage, let's say we can get that to 45%. And our cost per lead, we're going to be getting a lot more leads this year. So let's actually bump that up. So now we can see we did $1 million last year. We're only projected to do 1.1 million this year if we have 210 work orders as repeat, 84 is referral, average ticket stays there, closing percentage, cost per lead. We're going to be way short. So either we have to spend another $47,000 in marketing, or we have to make some of these numbers better. So let's figure out how we can do it. Let's say I can get my closing percentage target to 50%. Let's try to get that cost per lead down to 130. Let's get my referral to 15. I'm gonna try to get 250 work orders instead of 210 as a repeat. So let's go 35%, 36. That's close enough. Now I'm at 1.4 million. So I'm still short by 117,000, but I only, by this math, I only have to spend $14,252 more. So I'm actually going to do that. I'm gonna pull up my calculator and I'm gonna just add 14,252 plus 35,000, it's 89, but we can just do it here. So we're gonna come here and I just want it to be, remember, as close as I possibly can. So I'm gonna switch this to 89,252 and this will be within $5, $10, whatever. There we go, $2. So I've got my 1.5 million. Now it produces all of these numbers down here. So now this is my 89,252 in marketing, and this is how it's split up based on how I've changed my marketing spend by month. I can see my monthly sales is a percentage of each one of these months to get to my $1 million. I can see my total leads per month. I can see how many leads I need per day. I can see how many new customers I'm gonna be acquiring each month, how many total new customers as they aggregate throughout the year, repeat, referral revenue, how many jobs per month I need to complete, jobs per day, revenue per day. Now, going back to not landing on the moon, and this doesn't have to be perfect, is some months you might sell more installation, some months you might sell more service maintenance packages. This is not intended to be an exact science. It's your guide, it's your roadmap. And so if you're doing 20, 30% more in 1 month for maintenance, that's fine. This is gonna be a roadmap and a base and a guide for you to follow. And so that's the goal, get it as close to zero as we can. And now you've got your infrastructure here ready to go. So I hope this video makes sense. Like I said, I've spent a lot of time trying to make this as simple and easy as possible. And I'm so excited to be sharing it with every single home service business that could use a tool like this. So thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, feel free to email me or reach out on social media, and I'm happy to help anybody I can become more profitable and better at planning their business. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.